Hi, lovelies. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Yes, I'm using my phone. Hopefully it don't flip over, right? It was like a glimpse of my foot. Oh my goodness, too funny. I was like, man, I had my house slippers on. It be like that sometimes. I don't like walking around barefoot. I just feel like it's dusty. But cheers to good health. We're going to do a quick video about self-discipline and having some temperance because, guys, that could keep you out of trouble, out of harm's way, right? And doing things that you love. And if anything, you retain your power. Because a lot of people think, since the rise of feminism and all that, I had a few feminists in my circle growing up, the Samantha of the group, right? Like Sex in the City, who thinks, the more bodies they rack up, the more empowered they are. Well, a lot of people don't realize, because I went into double standards, how the same for certain women. I'm not saying all, some women are just happy with some crumbs, guys. Shameful. They're literally happy with crumbs, but the real ones will want a real one, right? Everyone's like, I want this and that. Well, are you that and this to even attract that? Exactly. Right. So everyone is so different. So, but, the real ones, the majority of real women do not want men having a bunch of, randoms on their roster, don't want to feel like they're disposable, right? And don't want to feel like it's a temporary thing. If that's the case, right? What's the point, right? Then, women can just, they have more viable options out there. There's always more viable options. So I tell women, whatever you're dealing with out there, right? Ask yourself what you're looking for. You got a lot of women on here. Should I even mention their names? I don't think I even have to. That are trying to, reinvent or bring back, the art of honey trapping. Now, that can definitely get you down a dark road and actually help attract psychopaths to you. Yes. Unless you are one yourself, it's not a good time, right? And I'm really careful in everything I do also. A lot of people on here, they try to gaslight you, or women, when you try to move right, they try to tell you, to bring it out more, to do more, to do more. No, of course. The lack of self-discipline is why you hear the police sirens day in and day out, right? And they try to tell you to push more, like you're being too reserved. I mean, I've heard it all. It's kind of funny, right? Because it's kind of like an energy harvesting. And if they look at you with just these features, ladies and men too, I'm going to read a list to you of some psychopathic traits, right? Because on here, sexual promiscuity. Almost dropped my book. Sexual promiscuity, okay? Asexuality, which could be like, not wanting it all together, which there are some people, practicing the art of celibacy, which is great. I've never done it like a long, long, long time or anything, like years, like some women have. I guess that could be good. That could be okay, especially if you're a widow. But, it is nice to have that human contact, the soul, spirit. But you have to make sure you're careful of who you deal with. That's why a lot of women opt to do that, right? Because men are on here just saying, oh, women can get soul ties, as if men cannot get soul ties, as if men don't become overly feminine when they're around many women, right? The term ladies man, right? And then it goes on down darker roads, and not just saying like, oh, this applies to everybody, but we're gonna go down certain topics. I've been watching a new show, guys. It's called Under the Banner of Heaven. Check it out on Hulu. Goes into fundamental Mormonism, and how there was a huge rift. So it goes to show in different churches and different belief systems, they could be a divide within even the same people, right? Because there was a huge rift about, polyamory, which is now it's becoming almost mainstream. They have their own show. I'm good with Colorado. You won't find me in certain parts. It seems like they're all hiding out over there. They got their own freaking everything, right? So it goes to show that, we'll go down certain roads, how it's interesting in that show how they try to throw shade or demonize anyone teaching about, being a national or your, God-given rights, the so-called sovereign movement, which I don't really even use that term, even though I know that we, the people, are the so-called sovereigns, right? The people, not the corporations, right? So you got a lot of people on here who have like no self-control. They're just like running rampant in their feelings, right? And this can cause different extreme views, right? And how some people will opt out, some people will clash, they'll turn away. And so when you're getting that in the manospheres and stuff, like, oh, high value man, we need more than one woman, or even regular, busters, as they call it, are thinking that they're entitled to whatever. Well, just go join the damn fundamentalist, the Mormon religion. I don't care what you call yourself, right? And not everyone was down with that, because it goes into the founder, how it wasn't like that at first. His wife was like a supporter. She was that so-called, supportive wife. But then when it came to certain practices that weren't even, agreed upon, right? It can show like where it can go, right? And that not everyone is about that life. Thank you very much, right? And when women out there, they have like this need, right? Because, we need to just stay away from some of the social media. I know I have to. My biggest thing with self-control is my online shopping sometimes, right? Could be up late at night, you're like, ooh, this, an ad will come up. Guys, I know some people like, sharing different, I do that at times too, like different places I shop. I do not use Temu. I don't understand that too much. How can things be that cheap? Are you even getting what you paid for? I'm not, hey, if you're using it and it's great, that's fine. But I'm like, that's an app I like never used. I use others or whatever. But, when you see certain ones and you're like, you start looking at the different shirts or whatever, you're like, ooh, that's cute. This is cute. Ooh, sometimes our creative juices will flow at night too, right? And not to say a lot of us are like, oh, living like freaking monks or whatever, but being temperate in a healthy relationship, you'd be surprised. It's not as often. People make these huge whatever because a lot of people, they'll be single for a long time. And then they'll start romanticizing how it is to be in a relationship. And even like if it's new and you're still in that like honeymoon phase, yeah, it'll be like an uptick to a point, but people still got to live their lives, as people get tired or whatever. And that is a way of like, sometimes it's almost like going out. It might take a whole day the next day to like do self-care because you're like so drained, So you do find that it does take, there's a term called looshing, how some people just come around, they want to like drain your energy, right? Like literal vampires. So we're just going to read a couple of traits because I don't want this to be an exceptionally long video, but we'll go down to certain traits. That show was really great because they tried to conflate the people who believe in the Bill of Rights and teach certain things, traveling versus driving, different things like that. I never teach people to break any type of laws or whatever. Always make sure it's a valid law or whatever. Sometimes people are just following policies a lot. So, but there is a way to deal with things, like not be confrontational, have the temperance. Like I deal with the craziness all the time. That's why, You know, I need my few days away. I can't be working like extra at these certain establishments or whatever, just dealing with the public, because you're dealing with so many types of personalities. Some people want to be confrontational. They want to give you a bad day. They want to complain about something that is trivial and just get you all upset, you know, or pick a fight with you or whatever. So a lot of times you want to like snap the hell back, right? And I'm just like, some days I'm just like, I just can't, because a lot of people, like I said in one of my videos, are unwell. They're showing they're unwell. I don't want to hear that girls run their mouth the most. I never seen women. You are seeing men now doing 10-hour plus podcasts bitching about women, talking about, it's like, are you kidding me? If you applied that into going, to the gym, not even like, I'm not like huge on gym, or just like being active, working on your own hobbies or business ideas, there's always something to do, right? And it goes to show that without a good woman in a man's life, he's just like bullshit half his time, right? That is like a full-time job right there, to be on here for that extended period of time, breaking down all this stuff, right? It's just like, ladies, don't listen to any of this shit on here. It's complete crap, right? In the real world, it's so different. And you're not going to die alone if you're picky, if you're you have standards, right? If you know what you want and what you're looking for, right? Bullshit, right? So happy I'm out of the game, right? Because I could have honey trapped today. This guy, did he give me it was an older guy. I'm like, oh, fix broken hearts. This is his like business. He looked like he could be my father, guys. He was so enthralled with me. He was talking. I mean, I literally just rolled out of bed. I didn't even have my hair brushed. It was like in a messy bun. Ran to get my coffee. And this guy, I don't know, guys, maybe early 70s or whatever. But a lot of these women would be like, yeah, honey trap that, because he has his own businesses. And he was like, if you have some time, let's hang out and talk. I'm like, what? I'm like, I got somewhere to be, sir. Women like me, we're always on the go. We move with purpose, right? Because we don't we don't give away all our energy, our spiritual energy, our physical energy, right? So we're trying to, keep that for ourselves and just dole it out, quality over quantity. And I think that having that self-discipline in a world where people are not disciplined is becoming like, it is the new superpower. Okay. And so he was like, give me a call, I'll take you out to eat. I'm like, all this stuff, like, right? And I'm like, still, it's not even all about that, because some of these honey trappers, they'll be like, sure, okay, daddy, or whatever. I don't have dad issues, even though my dad was a hard ass, right? And I was just looking at him, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it would take a lot of acting, right? And even, so I tell women, please, it's like, you either got that, though, or some of them, right, not that they're wasting my time like that, because, I'll kick them right to the curb, right? Because I have the discipline. When you have the discipline, you could be, you're coming from a place that you're good and you move like you're good, right? And other people are not good, right? And they think that you're going to even deal with, some of these guys on here for 10 plus hours, will just give women like fast food and a fast time. And it's like, for what? And they're like below average. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel for them, right? They have a long road ahead of them, right? A lot of them probably have a little bit of secondary psychopathic traits, because if you listen to enough, minds crack. If you listen to a psychopath long enough, guys, it's gonna affect you, and you can be a secondary one, right? And that happens with some of the madams on here, making a whole tribe of secondary psychopaths, as if that's cute. Because with enough trauma, anyone can have like issues. Been there, done that when I was younger. Some of it pretty serious, you know what I mean? Almost like, okay, this is how I'm going to get treated. I'm going to do them better. I'm going to do them worse. I'm going to do, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Right. But, and some people like, we don't care. We'll hurt ourselves to hurt others, kind of thing. Right. So, I learned to move past that and not deal with F boys, and men don't deal with F girls, and don't be one. You know what I mean? Don't start nothing, they won't be nothing, kind of thing, right? But some people like that type of energy. They find that, oh, like the crazy, someone's kind of crazy, the energy is going to be extra or whatever. And they like that element of danger. Some men love that element of getting caught, some women too, right? So we just got to, definitely move in a way where you exercise discipline, because you're dealing with honey trapping. That could be the trap for you, right? Just think of fur trapping, right? So we'll go into some traits. Sexual promiscuity, that's first and foremost, right? Claims to be the only person who really relates to you. Extreme and obvious flattery, they really do that. They kind of like reduce you to like a doll almost, that they just want to play with and put together, pull apart, and it's like, oh no. Easily bored. A lot of people on here are just bored, right? And it can turn into a dark place, right? Get really competitive because they're not having success in their own life, right? So they want to minimize anything that you're pushing forward and stuff. So it gets like that, right? So you got to be tough, right? So righteous indignation, condescending, always right, never wrong. Not saying this is an exact list. We do know that some of these can be, they can kind of, you have to kind of use discernment when you're using it. But because if you're right, you're right, right? It doesn't mean that you're a psychopath. If you're dealing with a question and it's a true or false type of deal, then it is what it is, right? But needing at most 4 to 5 hours of sleep at night. People who can't sleep ever. Not to say that that's exact. Falling asleep instantly or waking up instantly. Who knew that could be a thing? They say even migraine, headaches, this is all the secondary traits, okay? So definitely, being influenced by the wrong people, eyes dead and lifeless, then racing frantically from side to side like this, I guess, with a win or scam. Idealization followed by cold rejection. So they can put you up on a pedestal just to knock it down. You're so great, you're so this. Or if you don't want to give them like free stuff or this, they'll try to gaslight you there too, right? So dealing with certain industries or businesses anyway, you're going to deal with this even on social media, right? So the primary ones is absolutely no remorse, never feeling bad for what they do. They only feel bad when they get caught. They only feel bad when they can't get away with, they can't move the way they do, right? And it's not about having that remorse and feeling bad and like betraying their partner or betraying sacred vows or whatever, right? So that's why there's so many problems like with relationships and teaching certain things being conflated. You try to teach about, trust and your natural rights. And then you may be cordial with some people and they may think, oh, okay, now you got, shows like Under the Banner of Heaven showing that these same people are running in circles with Mormons. And then you got some guys on here who do teach certain things who are part of these same lifestyles, right? And that show is crazy. It was showing some of the rituals they had, and in there, it goes to show different doctrines conflating, and that blood atonement was allowed, right? So if you're part of their church and you're baptized and you go against their beliefs, they can literally like take you out. So it made me think of all these baptisms, how it's how these churches operate. And with some people, it can be like a spiritual possession. It can make couples go against each other because one, kind of goes off on the deep end. And they were all wearing white in certain ceremonies. And if you didn't know, in Hollywood, they have something called the White Party, right? I think it's in the Hamptons, I'm not sure, where they dress in all white and they're part of these secret societies and everything else. And don't think that some of these YouTubers are not too different than some of these people. So just be careful also, who you give your ear to. Avoiding long-term relationships. They hate long-term relationships. They don't know nothing about, being monogamous. The Most High hates that too, right? He hates spiritual harlots and harlotry altogether, right? No one's teaching that anymore. And let me tell you, as a Gen Xer who didn't believe in love for a little while, it's real when you find the right partner, and it gets better when it's just you one on one, right? There's a lot of cool songs back in the day talking about that, right? Takes two to make a thing go right, not three, not four, not five, not all this other stuff, right? So that's why I don't take women who preach that kind of stuff on behalf of the men. I don't take them seriously, never will. I can smile, be nice, but never will, because I know that they're in a deep delusion. So, displaying signs of criminal diversity, failing to accept accountability for their actions. And I don't think men can't do that too. They're all like women, women. When you're all just one sided and you can't see the right and wrong in all, you might be a psychopath. Lacks empathy for others, having poor behavioral controls. There's a great quote. Discipline yourself and others won't need to. That's from John Wooden. Drinking a little bit of my freshly squeezed OJ. The only way to do it, guys. Delish Nutrish. Email me at DianaDash@yahoo.com if you need any help with constructing trust, to put together your UCC template. I have passport status corrections. Okay, I got a 4-stop passport for myself. So I have a lot of insight in a lot of things, but some people have a problem when you try to teach, real stuff, or they'll take it the wrong way and think that you're preaching against, following, law and order. Yeah, the real laws, right? But I don't have any problems with law enforcement or anything else. I know there's a way to do things, right? Because there was a scene in that show, the cop pulled over the guy and he got all like defensive and he was like, I don't have to get out, and he got his window smashed in. You got to go into custody and deal with it in court and file your paperwork. Then do what you got to do, right? Because you can have women in the car, children in the car. That's what happened in the scene in the show. And some people will just disregard because they'll want to be right on all counts. So we do have to practice discipline, discernment, and don't let people gaslight you because you're moving with discipline. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I have opportunities all the time, like no one, and I'm all set. I'm like, yeah, if someone needs some assistance with, it could be like a business opportunity, whatever, but it's not somebody I'm going to hang out privately, try to get to know, trying to, have in my back pocket. That's how some women move though. But just to show, yeah, there's something about your energy that comes across, because someone like, you got to be here, you got to do this. And I literally woke up half a mess. Looking a mess, going to get my latte in the morning. That's all it was. It was like a 2-minute interaction. That's why I tell men and women, have your business cards ready. It could be for networking. You can meet, someone in real estate like I just did. Could have great business connections in the future. Acts like a weirdo, goes in the trash. That's all it is, right? Now, I might see him again or whatever, but if he tries to be too friendly, I know to keep my whatever, right? And that could be guys who are younger than me too. Some of the guys on here and in real life, they have so much confidence. It's like, wow, right? So just learn from them. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go, maybe I have a healthy layer of self awareness where I'm not too cocky or whatever. I may make jokes or whatever, and then be like, hey, some guy hit on me, like, oh gosh, these guys out here are just too funny, right? And we'll just chuckle it off and keep it moving and stuff. But just know that some some of these traits, it's really important, right? And just know that just look at all of the issues that people are having right now, and the whole sex industry with porn, everything else. It's all about making misery and money out of lust. They stop by suppressing sexualities. Hookers take your energy. You got to look up the term tantra, while despising you and themselves. Yeah, passing demons on top of demons. That is not a flex. Having something that is sacred, treating sex as a sacred act, bringing that back in style will really protect people. And having self-discipline is important too. Lap dancers steam you up with no outlet, increases rape and masturbation, which makes you lose energy. This is all like real articles. Porn does the same thing while causing depression and creating impotence. Look up Alfred Kinsey, huge pervert, was the reason why we have sex education in school, was instrumental in loosening sexual morality. One of the main earners for the ruling psychopaths, okay? So you can look up, there's a great reference, Secrets of Sexual Ecstasy by David and Linda Howe. The sooner they can get you into sex, the better for Sex Inc. Okay? Hence, sexualizing children, promiscuous behavior, pushing ED medication, commercial after commercial. That's all you're seeing on here. So people are just like a mess, right? So, you really have to protect yourself, and having discipline, just like in the martial arts world and all of that, will definitely make you stronger, right? And just know that the ED pills and all that, that will deplete your immunity. Sexual energy is food for the parasitical entities that are all around, okay? Look up that movie, They Live. So, that is a highly charged act. So just make sure that you treat it sacred and only deal with people who respect it, guys. And don't listen to a lot of these freaks and these geeks on here, guys, because they're a hot mess. I can see right through them, right? They've been dating their hands way too long, and they are trying to do some type of master manipulation, but they got all this time, guys. It's so sad, right? Self-discipline, it's where it's at. Check me out on Facebook. I've been using some of this amazing products. I'm selling this. I sell different creams, natural lip balms. This is the best lip balm ever. Has cedarwood and frankincense. I know, right? Wasn't cheap to put together. And unlike a lot of other people who are just selling stuff, right, for other corporations, I make everything. I test it. I have all the tools. So, when people are like, oh, they're just doing this in their kitchen or whatever, it's like it took a lot of research, a lot of study, a lot of education, and my own investment. All right. So don't even listen to those haters. So make sure you get some juice in your system, guys. Check me out on Kadesh Gardens. If you like some of my products, I'm going to put some pictures up on my Etsy store today. This is what happens when you have some discipline. You're not out there in the world acting crazy, trying to, do stupid shit. It will make your creative juices flow, and you're going to get so much done, guys. You're going to be doing way better. And there's something to be said about being monogamous, being happy with what you have, right? Stop exposing yourself to so much stuff out there, right? It's messing up your mind. It's desensitizing you. It's making you think that the grass is greener when it's not, right? Be happy with what the Most High gave for you. We all have our portion, right? Love you guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.